All right, y'all, let's go here. I wasn't expecting this story, but hey, sometimes you get what you're not expecting, right? Husband surprises son as a prom date. All we can do is watch. Let's watch.
My husband surprised his son by taking him to the prom.
Don't mess up that makeup, gather. Look down, let him cry. Oh, he's crying. Oh my God. Oh, you made him cry. Wait. Let's let him fall on the floor. Let him fall. Let him fall on the floor. Oh, poor baby. I know my son is going to cry. Oh. Hold on. It gets so hard, honey. You get so get it on. Yes. Look up. Oh. Oh, Mello's crying. He didn't know his pops was going to be there. He's crying. This is monumental. I know. I'm so crying. Oh. Oh. All right, come on. I need pictures. Excuse me. Ready? Good. I love the candidness. Let it know. Let it. Let's go. Okay. Using emotion.
My husband
All right. Is there like a part 2 or something? She said in the comments, not in the comments. She said in the description. This is very interesting. Actually, I didn't know this. Okay, this is great. Let me read this. So she said, let me explain this first video. My son has had a rocky relationship with his pops growing up because his pops is Muslim and does not condone his lifestyle. So wearing makeup, feminine hairstyles, nails, and all that has always been a problem. So on this day, he thought that his pops would not even come outside to see him leave for prom because he has never saw him off for any of his dances in the past. Well, his pop said, I'm going to take my son to prom as his chauffeur, and I'm going to match his outfit. So Romello was so surprised to see him get out of the truck, but when he saw how he was dressed and it matched what he was wearing, he cried like a baby, and it was a beautiful moment for him, my husband, and the whole family. To have a supportive dad when you are in this lifestyle is rare and meant everything in the world for my son. Shout out to my husband. I love you, tuxedo dress by Cali Couture. All right. They snuck in a brand deal there. Is there like another part to this? I'm curious, but then I want to read a comment real fast. What is this? Just the photos of it? Oh, that's just the photos of it. Okay, I'm good on that. I don't need to see that.
My husband
Hold on.
surprised his son by taking him to the prom.
Wait. I want to show you the top comment. Hold on. Here's a top comment. Here's a top comment. 100,000 likes. 100,000 likes. Parents who accept kids for who they are deserve all the respect. I guess that's the disconnect that a lot of people have. That's the disconnect. There's a disconnect of truth. And this just goes across the board. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I know everything, because I don't. But I do know one thing for sure is that God does not make mistakes. He doesn't. He does not make mistakes. And so you have a young man identifying as a woman. This is not a matter of respecting who you are. This is a matter of mental illness. And I say that with all due respect in that regard. And I say that with love, because here's the thing. It's not necessarily his fault that, we live in a world that encourages this type of behavior, that praises this type of behavior, that gives a platform to this type of behavior, it's not necessarily his fault, right? It's not necessarily his fault. But to say that this is who this young man really is a flat out lie. But one thing that we can do a lot better as believers, as Christians, one thing that we can do a lot better is simply offering love. Simply offering love. That's one thing that we can do a lot better. Because, even though he may not, when I say he, even though, Pops may not agree with this because he's Muslim, so obviously he has his disagreements. You look at a moment like this could potentially open the door to have more vulnerable conversations. A moment like this could potentially open the door to really connect in a way that previously wasn't there because there was walls that was, put up between the two of them. And I'm not saying to compromise. I'm not saying to give validation to this. That's not what I'm saying. And it's tricky. It's a fine line. It's tricky. It's a fine line. It really is. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know all the answers. It's a fine line. But I do think we have to be better at extending love. Now, also on that same token, love is not always comfortable. Love is not accepting of all. Jesus did not put up with sin. He didn't put up with sin. He died for it. He died for sin. He didn't put up with sin. He died for it. He suffered for it. He endured pain for our sin, right? So, love is not always going to be this comfortable, cozy like feeling. There's going to be some confrontation that goes in that. But I think a lot of us, we focus too much on the confrontation that we forget to meet people where they are. And we forget to make people feel human and not make people feel less than. Because the fact of the matter is, we have all sinned. We have all fallen short of the glory of God, and we all need a savior. We all need forgiveness. We all need grace. And we live in this society where some sin is celebrated more than others. Well, actually, I'm gonna keep that. Some sin is celebrated more than others. And some sin, it's been fed to our children that you should have pride in some sin. And so that creates a level of confusion. So I respect Pops for trying to lay that down and trying to lay down that judgment and put that judgment to the side and kind of meet his son where he's at. I respect it. But on the same token, I hope that leads to tough conversations that can actually be received so that we can pull this young man out of the lie that he's living. And it's also tough when you have your mom and all, your family and whatnot encouraging this behavior, talking about don't mess up your makeup and yada, yada, yada. Like you're further fueling the confusion that's happening here. And that's why it's so important to not be unequally yoked. It's very important to not be unequally yoked. You have to be with somebody who spiritually is at the same level of maturity as you are. You have to. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in these situations when you're literally in a spiritual struggle with your own spouse. Like these things should be very clear and agreed upon that, listen, our son should not be out here dressing and identifying as a woman because that's not who he is, right? We need to empower him with confidence and tell him the truth and show him that he was made perfectly in the image of God and that he doesn't have to chase any other falsehood. So that's what I think about that. I know we're weaving and dipping and diving, but I do want to, show more love in those circumstances, because I often think that we focus too much on the judgmental side of it. And we forget to be compassionate human beings that are also sinful ourselves. You know what I mean? Anyway, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. All right. I'm out.